Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. Before we go ahead and get started on the install of the camber plates, I just want to give a huge shout out to all you guys for the last video installing the new BBS RIAs. The love and support that I got in this setup has been absolutely insane. It is pretty crazy, all the support and all the comments and all the positivity coming along with this setup. You know, coming from the TEs and then the E88s, being such an iconic wheel and then going to something a little bit different. It's pretty awesome to see all the positive comments and everyone basically saying this is the best setup that I've ran, and I have to agree. It is by far my favorite. These just turned out absolutely amazing, and I love how it turned out. It looks so good. So thank you guys, I really do appreciate it. I can't wait to get the car out and show some exterior shots, you know, of outside in the daylight, but it's winter currently here in New Jersey. Got salt and brine on the road. We're actually supposed to get a couple inches of snow tonight. So the car has been sitting in here for the last 5-6 weeks or so. So I haven't been able to drive it. It's unfortunate, but it's getting me excited for the warmer weather. So during the downtime, we have been installing things, getting the car ready for, I guess, the new season, if you will. But there was one thing that I really want to get done since installing the BBS RIAs. I've actually had these for a little bit. So I have been running the KW V3 coilovers for a little over a year now, about a year and a half. Absolutely love them. I actually have experience with KWs. I ran the V2s, the KW V2s on my E46 M3. Love them. And one of the reasons why I decided to go with the KWs on the F80 is because of my experience with the E46. Such a great experience, super comfortable ride, handles really well, tons of adjustability. And with the V3s on the F80, it's exceeded my expectations. Super comfortable, 3 ways of adjustment. It's just such a great setup. I can get super low and get it to where I want, but there is one drawback to KW V3s. And the drawback is it does not come with camber plates. You either A, have to use your stock top hats, which is what I'm using, or if you want some camber adjustment more than the stock hardware and components, you're gonna have to get an aftermarket camber plate. Now for the setups that I ran in the past, I didn't need camber plates. Everything worked out well. I really didn't need to add too much camber. So, you know, everything that I was able to get with the stock hardware and components, I was able to achieve it no problem. But with the more aggressive setups like the E88s and now the RIAs, camber is kind of a must. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to add camber plates either way, just because it allowed for more adjustment and be able to dial things in more. And plus, adding camber plates on an M3 in general is a huge handling improvement. Dialing in some negative camber up front does these cars so well, and I know this car can handle it even better than it currently does, so I'm excited to get these installed. But as you can see with the RIAs, we got a little bit of poke. So the wheels and specs and everything, very aggressive. This is an 18 by 10 plus 25, but I got a 10 millimeter spacer on here for clearance. It's currently sitting at plus 15 with the 10 millimeter spacer. The tires are 275/35, so it's a nice meaty chunky tire. So as you can see, it does bump out a little bit, but that camber plate is definitely going to help tuck that in, get some nice camber in there, and also get the fitment a little bit better. So what we're gonna do in this video is actually install some new camber plates. Now the plates that I decided to purchase are the Millway Street camber plates. The great thing about these camber plates is one, they offer a street version, which these are, and they also offer a race track version, which is a little bit more aggressive, but since I drive this car on the street, I didn't want the extra NVH. I just wanted something nice and quiet, nice and simple that allowed for camber adjustment. I actually did a whole video on camber plates talking over all the different options, and 9 times out of 10, people recommended Millway. They either said they had them or had experience with them. They were fantastic, super quiet, the best option to go with. So I ended up ordering these a while ago, actually. These are all the way from Sweden, and I had to wait for them to come in, but I was actually waiting to get these installed, the RIAs, before I installed these because I wanted to see how the fitment was before we start messing with the suspension components. So now that I know that we are definitely going to need some extra negative camber, we're gonna go ahead and get these installed. These things are absolutely beautiful. There's not much to them, which is really nice because there's not too many components and too many parts for them to increase clunking, suspension noises, NVH, which is what I do not want. I don't want to increase that because this is a street car and suspension clunks and noises are my worst enemy. So I'm excited to get these installed. It's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward, and the nice part about doing camber plates when the coilovers are already on the car, or even any suspension for that matter, you can even do these on stock suspension, you don't have to remove the entire strut from the car. So you can actually leave the hub and the bottom part of the suspension still connected and bolted on. Basically, we're just gonna unbolt everything on top and then swing the coilover away. Then we can install the camber plate. So it's not too hard, just a little time consuming just because you gotta remove a few things. But let's go ahead, let's get started. and let's install the Millway street camber plates. All right, so first thing we need to remove is this plastic cover on either side. These little 10 millimeters up here, the little plastic nuts, all we're doing is just twisting them counterclockwise, and they loosen. And we're also going to remove this little clip right here on the side. Just pull that up, pop the little clip out, and now we can remove this whole plastic piece. All right, so we got the covers removed. Now we actually have to remove the strut brace here. These are 13 millimeter, and up front are usually 13 millimeters as well, but I got some Downstar hardware, so it's a little bit different. But go ahead, unbolt those, remove those, and then we can get going on this piece right here, which is the strut that goes all the way across. Unfortunately, got to remove that, kind of a big piece, but in order to get to all the bolts on the strut tower, you have to remove that. So let me go ahead and remove the strut brace here, and then I'll show you what to do here. All right, so we got the strut brace removed. Now we're actually gonna remove these two bolts back there. I already popped one of the caps off so you can see. It is a 16 millimeter. You gotta pop that other cap off, remove those. That is the back bolts for this brace here. And then we can go ahead and remove the other bolts on the sides. But let's go remove those and then move over here. All right, so now we're going to remove the strut brace going across on the back side, but we actually need to remove this little rubber cover over the camber plate, over the strut. Just a couple of pop clips. Just pop them out. One on the side here. Oh, there's one on the side here as well. These things are everywhere. All right, so now we can remove this little cover. Now we have access to all the other bolts that we need. So these smaller ones, we're going to be using the 10 millimeter on, these ones, as well as the back bolts here. But the one in this little circle here, this little divot, we're going to be using the 7/16 there. So I'm going to remove the 7/16 first, right here. And remove all of these. So there's a total of 5, 3 here, 1 in the back, 1 in the side here. And the same thing on the passenger side. There's also this little bracket here. I have a Downstar bolt on here. I'm gonna remove it. It's actually holding on the this reservoir over here. So just kind of unclip it, move it to the side so it's off that brace. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the passenger side and we can pull that brace out. All right, so car is jacked up, wheel is off, and we're actually gonna be removing a few things out back. So these lines attached to these little brackets, simply just going to slip them off because we're gonna be dropping the whole suspension, the whole assembly down, and we don't want anything tugging on any of the lines. So we're just gonna pull it off the little brackets here, like so. Gives it that little extra slack. Now I am gonna use one of my jacks to hold this up. You're gonna need that to be able to move this up and down, but still wanna remove them just out of safety precaution. Now, one other thing I wanna remove is actually this little sensor, this level sensor right here. It's a 10 millimeter on this side, I believe, because when the assembly drops, you don't want this to break. So there's a little nut on this side, if I recall, 10 millimeter. Just remove that and remove it from the arms so it doesn't get any tension on there and cause any problems. All right, so we got all the lines removed. We got the little sensor down there, the height adjuster sensor removed and out of the way. So the only thing else that I want to remove is the end link because this is gonna hold it up from dropping all the way. So we're gonna have to remove this. I have these fancy little pass-through sockets, which you're gonna need for the top strut bolts, but that size is a 5/8, and then the little, to hold it is a T30. So what I'm gonna do is take my 5/8, put it on like that, and then I can get the little T30 in there so I could hold it in place and remove that. All right, so we got everything removed under there that we need to get removed. I have a jack under the whole assembly now because we're actually going to be removing the top main strut bolt. So the main bolt that we're actually going to be loosening is an 18 millimeter. So I have the pass-through sockets, which I highly recommend you get because you won't be able to do this job without it, is slip that on. And then I got a 10 millimeter to hold the middle nut. So now I can put my ratchet on there, hold the little 10 millimeter, and we'll be able to loosen this up. All right, so I went ahead and removed it. Basically, I put the 10 millimeter in there, held it tight, and used my ratchet and got the 18 millimeter nut off. So as you can see, it's a kind of different looking nut. So you want to make sure you have something like this where there's a lot of teeth, but comes right off. Now the strut, the whole coil is unbolted from the top hat. So now we can lower the jack over here and the whole assembly is going to come down. Lower the jack and the whole assembly. All right, so it was hard to show, but I got the entire assembly down. It's laying nice and safely on the ground here. I lowered it down with my hand. Got the jack out of the way. The tension on the lines is none, so just make sure that it's not pulling down too hard. But now we have access to the top hat up there. So we're gonna go ahead up to the top and remove these 5 16 millimeters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. BMW actually had 2 different versions. They had a 3-bolt and a 5-bolt strut tower. The early 2015s had a 3-bolt, and then they converted over to the 5-bolt. So make sure you check which one you have before you even order the camber plates. I have a 2018. This is one of the last 2018s built. So I knew I had the 5 millimeter. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these, and then the whole entire top hat can be pulled out through the bottom here. Then we can do a little comparison between stock and the Millway, and then install the new one. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so you wanna hold underneath because if you take all the bolts out now, it's just gonna drop. So I left the last 2, I'm holding underneath, and I can just simply remove the last 16, and then slide the top hat out. There we go. All right, so here is a side-by-side between the OEM top hat and the Millway. Now, just for reference, the left side is the driver side and the right side is the passenger. I know that gets confusing. I know I get confused sometimes, but left side, driver, right side, passenger. So, as you can see on the stock top hat, there is no way for the middle strut to move in or out for adjustment of negative camber. These are tight right now, but you're able to slide this whole plate back and forth or in and out to adjust the camber to less or more. As you can see, it's a pretty straightforward setup. There's no crazy different brackets or anything like that. It's just a simple plate in the middle that you can adjust and slide to where you need it, and that's it. So as I mentioned, these actually can fit these stock struts as well. So if you want to run camber on your stock struts, you certainly can do that. You can also get the racetrack camber adjustment insert as well if you wanted that. But as I mentioned, I went with the street just for it to be as quiet as possible. But there's one thing that we actually need to do before we transfer it over onto the car. Now, if you flip over, there is this kind of gasket bearing. So as you can see, this actually spins, and why we need that is A, for the actual spring to sit on, but also, as you can see, it rotates. So it rotates with the spring, with the suspension to eliminate any noises and clunking. So this simply just pops right off. So in order to get this off, simply just pry it up, work your way around, and it comes right off. Like that. So as you can see, that's the bottom. Now we can move the stock top hat. We can move the stock top hat out of the way, kind of clear any debris or anything that may be in there. Slip it onto the Millway, like that. Fits perfect. All right, so I had to look at the instructions on how to do these studs. There's so many different versions of these. The old ones were just hex screws. Now they have studs, which I'm not sure the benefit of these. I guess these can be replaced. I don't know why they changed over to these. But what you want to do is you want to do the double nut method. So you want to take the short end. The short end's going to go into the camber plate. You want to twist this one all the way down. Get another supplied nut. And then screw it into the camber plate. all the way down as far as you can go. Then you're going to take two 13s, hold the bottom one, and tighten the top one so it's tight against the nut. Now we're just going to torque the top one down since it's pushing the stud in. Now you don't want to go too far. You don't have to go crazy with the torque, but on the ones without the little spacer there, you want it nice and even with the camber plate. You don't want it protruding underneath. So I'm just gonna, nothing crazy, good enough. Then to remove it, hold the bottom nut, loosen the top, and then you can take it off. And now the stud is installed. I'm not sure why they do it this way anymore. I think just a simple screw would be way easier, but it is what it is. So remember, these short threads go into the camber plate. Take a nut upside down, screw it down, hold the bottom, tighten it against the nut. Now we can torque down the stud. We got everything ready. Just for reference of how to install this, the Millway, the logo right there goes towards the fender, and the opening here goes towards the inside of the engine bay. Now we're going to slip it on underneath, put it through the holes, and then we're going to take one of the washers, the little spacers provided, put that on, and then the 13 millimeter. Tighten everything down, and then we can start reassembling the center nut and all that and get everything situated. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in, get it all situated and installed, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to guide the coil up into the hole. Slip it right through. I'm going to take my nut, just throw it on there for now so it stays put. Now we can make sure everything's positioned properly. So I got the 18 millimeter snug down. Now these bolts right here, they say 24 Newton meters. So I got it at 24 Newton meters right now. So all I'm going to do is tighten everything down to 24, like that. I'm going to do it in crisscross pattern, just like a car, or the wheel I should say. Make sure it has even pressure. Last one. There we go. That's all bolted down. Now I'm going to go underneath and get everything buttoned up, and we'll be set. All right, guys, so we got everything buttoned up. We got all the top mounts, everything torqued down properly. And now we can adjust camber. So what you're going to do is actually loosen these. These are T45s. Now if we push on the strut, we get negative camber. So pretty awesome. I'm going to throw the wheel on, kind of see where it's sitting. Put it all the way back. You can see the little detail and everything. It's at 0 camber. The more we move it in, the more camber we add. So I don't know where it's going to sit currently. So I'm going to throw the wheel on, kind of see where it's sitting, and then play around with the fitment a little bit. But yeah, pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and do the passenger side off camera. I may get a few clips, but mostly that is the install. Just got to put all the pieces and strut bars back and everything, and we should be all set up. So I'm going to go ahead and get the wheel on, play with the fitment a little bit, and then I'll catch back up with you guys shortly. All right, guys, so we got the plates all installed, wheel back on, everything. Looks beautiful. Still got to do the passenger side, but I took a guess at where to put the camber. Just wanted to play around with it a little bit. I didn't want to go crazy. Camber that I currently had for my last alignment with the stock top hats, I was sitting around, I think, negative 1.6 on one side and 1.8. I forget which one was which. But what I wanted to do was just add basically a degree of camber, one more negative degree. So I would like to be around negative 2.5. So basically what I did was just move it over to the negative 10 mark, basically one more degree. At least that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if that's accurate, but check it out. I think I nailed it. So I just wanted to add that one extra degree to kind of tuck that tire in the top of it and fit it to the fender a little bit more, because I'll throw up a picture of what it used to look like with the stock top hat. So as you were able to see, it's definitely pushed out a little bit more on the top, but with that, that is absolutely perfect. Now the suspension has to settle a little bit since I was, the car was just jacked up, but I am super, super happy with that guess. Obviously, once I go get my alignment at Auto Couture, we'll dial things in even more. But just for guessing and trying to get it to where I think I would want it, I think that is pretty darn good. Still nice and flush with the fender, but it's tucked in enough where it's not gonna rub on the fender, and then when it does compress with the suspension, it's gonna tuck up into the fender more. That's why I love M3 fenders. Not only does it look good, but they're super practical, so much room for activities, and these wheels just fit even better. And also, if you guys remember the little clearance that I did have on the perch and the spring on the coil on the inside of the wheel, I ended up using 10mm spacers to push it out and give it more clearance. With the negative camber, I actually increased my overall clearance by a little bit just because the actual spring is tucked in more. Granted, the wheel does move with it, but the geometry and how things are moving, there's going to be more clearance overall. So it's a win-win for me. Super happy with the look. Looks great in there. Looks almost stock just because of the black. Matches the engine bay. It's not like a bright color or anything where it stands out too much. So it looks really nice. I'm probably not going to run the little rubber cap things that you put on top of there. Just because I want to be able to have access to that, especially before my alignment. That took about an hour and 15 minutes or so, just obviously with filming and this being my first side. I was going to do the passenger side first off camera, then do this side, but I just wanted to knock it out and kind of walk through it with you as I was doing it as well. Now I'm going to do the passenger side tomorrow, get that knocked out off camera. Maybe I'll get a few clips just for documentation's sake, but I cannot wait to drive this car. It has been quite some time, especially with the new wheels, the new tires, and now the new camber plates. It's going to be so awesome, especially after my alignment, GTS hood, a few other things that I got coming in. I'm really looking forward to driving this car this season. It's going to be so much fun. But all right, let me kind of clean up my mess here, get things situated, and I'll catch back up with you guys once I'm on the passenger side. All right, guys, so it is the following day. I apologize for the last clips when I thought the wireless mic was on. It was, but it wasn't recording. So I apologize for that. I believe I got it going now, so we should be good. So we are on the passenger side now. Just trying to knock this out, but I figured I would do a little commentary as I'm doing it. Kind of talk you through it like I did with the other side, but mainly because the audio wasn't recording. So we got the driver's side all sorted out. Super happy with how it turned out in terms of the camber. I just adjusted it to about an extra degree or so, but it looks so good. And I'm gonna do the same on this side as well. Now on the passenger side, you don't have to worry about the little sensor, the angle sensor on the control arm. It's only on the driver front and the passenger rear, so you don't have to worry about that. But right now I'm just taking off the end link nut. So we got that set. So I'm gonna go up top now and remove the main strut bolt, the 18mm. I got my little 10mm here. So I'll show you how I do that. And then just hold a 10mm. There we go, we got it loose. All right, so I got the jack under the entire assembly, so I'm gonna take this nut off the top, the main strut bolt. Now I'm gonna remove the end link. I'm gonna level that up a little bit so it's easy to take out, like so. Put that to the side. All my lines are out of the way that I need to remove. Oh, this one's stuck on there. Good. Now we can go ahead and lower this slowly. Actually, I'm going to put this underneath so it's got something soft to lay on. There we go. Dropped. And lower this down onto the mat here. Lean that there. It's good. Nothing is being tugged. We're good. Now I can go ahead and remove the actual camber plate. So I'm going to remove these 5 16 millimeters. It's crazy how much faster I'm doing this side than the driver's side, which was my first one that I did. Super easy, but takes time. Again, remember, watch this positive terminal here. It's probably wise to put a microfiber or something on there. I can remove the last bolt and pull the whole top hat out from the strut tower like so. There we go. So let me go get the Millway one, toss this bearing on, and we can get to installing the new one. All right, so we got the camber plate already. Again, the Millway, the logo goes towards the fender, and the opening, this part goes towards the inside of the engine bay. We got all these studs torqued properly. We got the bearing, little spinner bearing on there that the spring sits on. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in. Make sure the little pins align. Take a washer or a spacer, and then a 13 millimeter nut. Put that on, it's a spacer, and a nut. No joke, I probably did this one in like 15 minutes, where the other side took me, I mentioned, an hour and 15, just because I was filming each detail and each step. So this is going way faster. Now these bolts, these 13s, get torqued to 24 Newton meters. So I'm gonna go do that once I get everything in. All right, so now we can go ahead and get the strut through the hole here, put that 18 millimeter nut back on, torque everything down, and we'll be good. All right, guys, camber plate is in. We got everything torqued down. Now, when you do this, you actually have to put it under load. So what I do is I jack up the hub and put load on this and torque everything down. These, you do 24 Newton meters, and you do it in a cross pattern, just like a wheel. The camber bolts here are T45s. You have to do 12 Newton meters, and you go from here, here, to here. Then you come back around and do 21 Newton meters, and here, 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 and then you are set. So I did all that. We're all torqued down. We're all good to go. The end link bolts all torqued down and tightened and everything. The spring is nice and seated where it should be. All the lines back, so we are good. We can throw the wheel on. I brought it to the -10 here just to match the other side, and we'll see where we're looking once we get the wheel on, but we're good. Let's throw the wheel on, see how it looks. All right, guys, so we got the passenger side done, got that all buttoned up. Now we're kind of going around, putting the strut brace in, the rear strut brace, getting that all torqued down. Now with the Millway kit, you get new bolts for here. They supply them with the little washer and the little screw, which is a 6 millimeter. These actually get torqued to 21 Newton meters, so I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Just kind of do it in a star pattern. Like that. I'll go back here. I guess you can't really do a star pattern, but like that. And like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, so this is the passenger side, same thing. It's nice that they include these bolts. They look so much better than the stock bolts. I'm gonna leave the covers off because it just looks so much nicer. Plus it'll give me easy access to the adjustment if I ever need to. All right, so those are torque. Now I'm gonna go around and do this one, and this one. And then we're gonna put the carbon strut brace on as well, button everything back up, and we'll be done. All right, guys, install is complete of the entire Millway street camber plates. Turned out amazing. As you can see, I left off the little caps just because obviously I'm going to be getting alignment, and these things look pretty darn beautiful. And final, well, at least the eyeball measurement of where it ended up. I showed you guys the front camber of where I put it. And then let me show you the passenger side. So I still need to get an alignment, so pretty spot on. Obviously the suspension needs to settle a little bit after it being jacked up and all that. but I still need to get it in alignment, so it may change slightly, but overall, that is where I want to be. And man, it just turned out so awesome. I really love how clean it is, and it kind of matches the engine bay. It's not a bright color or anything, but looks so good. I love the new hardware that they supplied. So the overall install was pretty easy, pretty straightforward. It was not hard by any means, but there was just a lot of things you need to remove in order to get to the actual plates. But I will say, as I mentioned earlier, this side took me about an hour and 15 minutes just with filming and everything. This was the first side. The passenger side took me, no joke, probably like 25 minutes from jacking up the car, getting the wheel off, and getting everything put back together super quick. So now that I've done it, I mean, this whole job I can probably do in 45 minutes to an hour. Pretty amazing. But really happy I decided to take the time and get it done. It was something that was on my list for a while. I just didn't have the time to do it, but super happy that I got it done. I'm happy that I waited to install them after I put the new RIAs on, because now I got everything dialed in perfectly. So again, I still need to get in alignment, get everything kind of situated, and we're going to kind of tweak the alignment obviously around the whole car and get it settled exactly the way that I want it, make sure there's no rubbing, make sure everything is good. That won't be for a little while, simply because I have to actually wait for my GTS hood to get painted. As a matter of fact, I'll do that for you guys. I actually have to take off my door cap. I'll show you how to do that real quick. All right, so I'm getting my GTS hood painted. And in the meantime, for them to start, I actually need to send them out my gas cap cover. So in order to do that, really simple, open up the gas cover door. So there's a little clip here, then you just slide it out. Got my whole gas cap door ready to go. I got to pack this up and ship this out to Auto Couture. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm just got to keep that closed to keep it nice and safe. So I got the workbench to clean up, get everything situated in the garage. We are getting dumped with snow currently, so the car is not going to be driven anytime soon. So I will let you guys know once everything gets dialed in, aligned, and we get some seat time with it. But I'm really looking forward to driving this car with all the new mods. We still got quite a few things coming in. We got the GTS hood, we got a few interior bits and everything, and I can't wait. But that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Any questions at all about the Millway camber plates, the car, anything else at all, leave them in the comments below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple. I'll catch you guys in the next one.